President Donald Trump was last seen on Tuesday during a cabinet meeting, and we've made it all the way to Monday of the following week. He's been gone basically a week at this point, and we haven't heard from him at all. There's been some Truth Social posts and a few pictures, but the press has been kept far away from the president, and he hasn't been on any news broadcast. He hasn't called into anywhere. He hasn't made any speeches or made any public appearance other than moving to and from the motorcade and going to the golf resort. So we aren't entirely sure what is going on with the president. There hasn't been any sort of indication that anything is going on. And to me, it's very strange that Donald Trump hasn't said anything for 6 days. We've had presidents in the past where they don't make lots of public appearances, but Donald Trump is not one of those people. Joe Biden, for example, would be gone for days at a time, and we wouldn't necessarily know what was going on with him. But Donald Trump is not like that. He is constantly on the camera, constantly making posts. So we're going to go through all that. We're going to look at the images that have come out. There's not very many of them for being a whole week for the president of the United States. And we're going to talk about what's coming up tomorrow for the White House's new announcement. So this first image is from Andrew Cabrillo of Getty. Trump does not look good in this photo. His mouth is agape. His features are slightly less pronounced than they normally are. It could just be makeup, etc. But first picture, he doesn't look great. So this one was one of the earliest images that we saw. Oh, I should probably mention, so in the last video I talked about how there was a video of Trump shaking hands with people, and that sort of made me feel like there's probably not a whole lot going on. He was just taking a vacation. That video that I was talking about was from earlier in the summer, so it wasn't actually an up-to-date video. All I have is our images. I haven't seen any videos of the president cabinet meeting last week. But this is from the other day when he was first spotted on Saturday. This image was from Saturday. We hadn't seen him for a few days at this point, and the claim was that he was going to golf with his granddaughter, and the press weren't allowed to be near him. A lot of times the press is able to get photographs of the president golfing, and that was not the case. As far as I know, there aren't any videos or photos of the president golfing that day. In this photo, he also doesn't look the best. Obviously, it's from far away, so it's not as clear. It's just another data point. Now, this photo is clearly very zoomed in. Of the image, it's the only part of Trump that you can see. And again, his mouth is agape, his eyes are barely open, his features are less pronounced. I would say this is the one that makes him look the healthiest. He was riding in the motorcade back from the golf resort, and somebody snapped this photo of him. So he is up and moving. His eyes are sort of half open. He's not quite reaching. I feel like a lot of times Trump is very enthusiastic in front of crowds and is very quick to give exaggerated waves and things like that. Here it's very subdued, and you can see here on his face he's got seemingly extra creases, but again, these are just images, so it's hard to tell. This is from the same motorcade ride. He's able to use his phone, so he's clearly not completely incapacitated, right? I don't think at this point anybody's claiming that, but it's odd that he's not speaking to the press. And that takes us to the last time that we saw him. So on Tuesday of last week, August 26th, he had a cabinet meeting, and in the cabinet meeting, Trump seemed himself, right? He was talking,
pretty
answering questions. His voice sounded totally fine. There's no significant drooping in his face, right? This is what he's always looked like, since his recent inauguration. You can go back to the last term and notice some big differences, but to me, he looks different. But there's a big update. So we heard, as of a couple hours ago, that the White House is going to make an announcement at 2 p.m. The president specifically is going to make an announcement at 2 p.m. The press pool is going to be there, and it's going to be in the Oval Office. A lot of this speculation that's going on will likely either be exacerbated depending on if he addresses it or not, or will come to a head in a sense, right? If he comes up and he looks different visibly, he sounds different, we'll be able to further speculate on what's going on. And it could be nothing, right? I don't want to act like being gone for 6 days and having sort of a less enthusiastic appearance means that something bad happened. But if it was just the flu or it was COVID or whatever, they would probably just tell us, because in the past when the president had COVID, we knew about it immediately. And it's just odd that he's staying out of the public eye. That's not really like him. So it makes me think maybe whatever happened to him is impacting his speech. It's impacting the way that he's able to articulate himself, whatever it may be. To me, it seems like something's going on, but what exactly, I don't know. The reason I think a lot of people are speculating about his health is some of the other things that have been coming up. He had the swollen ankles the other day. He's had the bruised hand, which he covered up with concealer. None of these are particularly bad by themselves, but when you combine the health scare, the visible health scares that the president's not necessarily addressing very often, and you combine that with an extended absence with no contact, it just reeks of something happened and you don't want to tell us whatever it is. And if it's some sort of traumatic health event, it's ideal that we, the American people, know, and that way the public can pressure the cabinet to make the right decision and have Vance be president if that's the case, right? If he's totally fine, then we're causing a stir about nothing. But the way that Trump behaves, this doesn't seem like nothing, right? He's somebody who's always in front of the camera. He's always making speeches. He's always making public appearances. And all of a sudden, it just stopped. And he went from looking like this, just totally normal, to his mouth is constantly agape. And we aren't hearing from him. I also want to address quickly before the end of the video just some fake news that's been going on. So this image was circulating a lot on X. I don't know if it's been on other platforms as well, but this is an AI image. They took some of the images from this appearance and had an AI enhance the image, and it gives like this weird lump on his head, and it's like clearly not the president. And because that's because this is an AI generated image. It's not something that you can rely on, right? You can't enhance an image and get some extra detail out of it. That's something that happens in CSI Miami. That's not something that happens in real life. Enhancing this image with AI, like you could do this to ChatGPT, I guarantee you, or Grok or something, like put in the image that's pixelated and say enhance it. And it could be a photo that you know what it is, like say it's a photo of you, but it's really pixelated. Once it enhances it, it's not going to be you, right? It doesn't know anything other than what you're looking at. So an image like this is fake news. Don't buy into this. This is just an AI generated thing. But yeah, that's all I got for today. At 2 p.m., we're going to find out more information. The president is going to make an announcement. And if he doesn't make an announcement, that's further evidence of something's going on. So stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.